Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Layne Garrett, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus, where we've helped thousands of people improve their lives through better hearing and tinnitus treatment over the last 25 years. Today, I'm going to do a deep dive into one of the biggest hearing aid launches of this year, the Widex Allure. If you've been following advances in hearing technology, you probably know Widex as the brand that audiophiles and musicians swear by. Their claim to fame has always been delivering an incredibly pure, natural listening experience, almost as if the hearing aid disappears into the background and you're simply enjoying the hearing world again. But like any hearing device, it does come with trade-offs. The Allure brings a brand new processing platform, a faster microchip, and some impressive new features, but it also has some tools missing that many Widex hearing aid users have relied on for years. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know before you invest, the standout improvements, the limitations you should consider, and my honest take on who this hearing aid is really best suited for. If you find this kind of honest, in-depth review helpful, please take a second now to click the like button. It helps more people discover accurate information about hearing health. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's explore whether the Widex Allure really lives up to its name. Before we talk specifically about the Allure, let's zoom out for a minute. One of the reasons Widex has such a loyal following, and I mean very loyal following, is they are fundamentally different in how they approach how hearing aids process sound. Most hearing aid manufacturers like Oticon, Phonak, and ReSound use very aggressive algorithms to analyze the environment, identify speech, suppress background noise, and re-engineer the signal before it reaches your ears. This can be incredibly effective in making speech clearer in challenging environments like a busy restaurant, but it can also create what some people describe as a digital or processed quality of sound. Widex has always taken a different path. Their philosophy is speed and simplicity. The priority is to get sound from the world around you into your ear canal as fast as possible with as little processing delay as possible. Why does that matter? Because when there's a lag, even a tiny lag between the natural sound arriving and the processed amplified sound surrounding your eardrum, your brain can perceive it as echoey, metallic, or artificial. Even delays as small as 5 milliseconds can feel unnatural, especially for musicians or people who have better hearing. Widex Hallmark's PureSound technology aims to avoid that, and in the Allure, they've taken that even further. They've introduced zero delay technology. The Allure now delivers sound at under 0.5 milliseconds of processing lag. That's about 10 times faster than most hearing aid companies. This minimal delay preserves the natural timing and phase of sounds, which makes sounds clear and music sound more real. So if you ever worn hearing aids that sounded fake, you can see why people become converts to Widex. And that same philosophy, prioritizing immediacy and naturalness over heavy processing, is absolutely alive and well in the Allure. So what exactly is in the new Widex Allure compared to earlier models like the Widex Moment or the SmartRic? Let's walk through the key upgrades. The W1 chip platform. This is Widex's first fully new microchip in over 5 years. It's 4 times faster and has 4 times the memory of the older hearing devices. This allows the hearing device to run more complex processing without slowing things down. PureSound 2.0, Widex's signature feature, but now it's enhanced. You still get the low latency, but there's even better handling of sudden loud sounds and sophisticated background noise cleanup. The next, Speech Enhancer Pro. This is perhaps the biggest new feature of the Allure. It analyzes incoming sound across 52 frequency bands to separate speech and noise in real time. This provides clearer, cleaner speech, especially in places like cafes, meetings, or family gatherings. It also has independent streaming compressors. In older Widex hearing devices, the streamed audio from your phone like podcasts or phone calls and the environmental sounds like traffic were processed together. If the background noise increased, it could mess with your streaming volume. Now they're processed separately, so your phone call volume stays stable no matter what's happening around you. They also have improved feedback cancellation. Historically, Widex has struggled a little bit more with whistling feedback than some of their competitors. The Allure introduces adaptive frequency shifting, and in my experience, it is noticeably better, though still not perfect. They introduced the sound classifier. The Allure can now recognize 11 different environments, everything from live music to quiet conversations to transportation and traffic, and it automatically adjusts your settings for you. If you could do me a favor, I'd really appreciate it. If you're finding this information helpful, please give this video a like, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Every week, I share reviews, hearing health tips, and ways to get most out of your hearing devices. Now let's get into real-world listening, because hearing aid specs don't matter much if it doesn't work in everyday life. Here's what our patients wearing Allure have reported so far. First off, sound quality is extremely pure and clear. Whether you're using universal mode or PureSound mode, Allure maintains that smooth, unprocessed sound quality that Widex is known for. There's no harshness, no sense that the hearing aid is working in the background. This is particularly important for first-time wearers or those who are sensitive to artificial sounding amplification. When it comes to enjoying music, Widex continues to be the industry leader in music fidelity. At a live concert, switching between universal music and PureSound, patients consistently prefer PureSound. Instruments have retained their natural richness, especially guitars and pianos, and those who play those instruments love it. So if you're a musician or enjoying attending performances, this alone is a reason to consider Allure. In the past, Widex's minimalist approach meant you got a lot of the environment in the background whether you wanted it or not. The new Speech Enhancer Pro finally adds a layer of noise reduction without muddying the sound. It's not as aggressive as Oticon or Phonak, but it's better than any Widex before that. Now, what are some of the negatives that people have reported? Well, when streaming audio from your phone, like most hearing devices now, music can lack some of that deep bass sound. Podcasts and calls sound clear, but if you're hoping for AirPod level bass, you're going to be disappointed. Another downside, the charger must be plugged in. There's not a portable battery option for this. And for travelers, that can be a bit inconvenient, but the charger is very small and easy to pack. And some users report that the first few days feel too open or they hear more noise compared to their other hearing devices. However, many adapt quickly and end up preferring the natural sound from the Widex Allure. As you might have learned from other reviews, I have a mild hearing loss myself, so you know I always take new technology out for a test drive to get a feel for what my patients can expect. My first thought when I put them in my ear was how comfortable they were. I've worn many different hearing aids over the years, and I was stunned at how much better these felt. That first night, I went on my typical date with my wife with new technology with our friends. We went to my wife's favorite Mexican restaurant and then a movie. I noticed I was hearing a lot more around me than I was used to initially and was a bit distracted, but I was also stunned at how clear everyone's speech was. I was able to follow the conversation in the restaurants, even with that little bit more background noise, and I didn't notice the difference in noise reduction compared to my other hearing devices. The next day, I went into the office and made a few changes to the programming to help with those little extra sounds around me, and it helped a lot. But it still took me a week or two to get used to hearing differently than I was used to. But now I feel like I'm hearing in high definition versus standard definition. Streaming from my phone has been very good. I can hear the phone calls and podcasts great. I will say I do get a little bit more feedback chirping with these than with my other hearing aids, but it's still pretty rare. Wind noise is also something I notice more with my Allures than other hearing devices. If you've watched my other hearing reviews, you know I always ask my wife about her opinion on my hearing compared to my other hearing devices. She told me she noticed the TV's been turned down again, and I'm not asking for repetition as often as I was with my previous devices. After about a month of wearing the Allures, I put my other devices back on to get a feeling for the differences between the two. Within about 2 hours, I was back to the Allures, and I've worn them every day since. I agree with what one of my patients said. If I have to hear an occasional chirp of feedback and a little bit more wind noise to hear this much better, that's a trade I'll make every day. Now let's get into the limitations and missing features in the Widex Allure, because this is where some Widex fans might feel a little disappointed. First, they took out the Zen fractal tones for now. Historically, Widex's Zen program offered relaxing fractal tones for tinnitus relief. As of now, these are not in the hearing devices. Widex says they plan to reintroduce them, but there's no timeline. But at Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus, where we specialize in tinnitus care, we rarely used those fractal tones with our tinnitus patients. So it's not that much of a loss, but some patients did rely on them. Second, there's no telecoil. If you use induction loops at churches or theaters, the Widex just does not have a telecoil option. It's also only available in a rechargeable version only. If you prefer traditional batteries, whether for travel or peace of mind, that's not possible here. Another miss, Widex's Sound Assist remote microphone, similar to Oticon's Connect Line mic, isn't compatible at launch. For people who need a little extra help in group settings, honestly, that's kind of disappointing. And they have a different fitting software for audiologists. The new Compass Cloud fitting software is faster but less customizable. Some fine-tuning adjustments that hearing care professionals are used to are gone, and there's no remote programming for telehealth available. For clinicians like myself, this is a step backwards in the ability to customize the hearing treatment for my patients. Allure supports modern Bluetooth options, like made for iPhone with Apple and Android's Assure protocol. It also has Bluetooth LE audio, which will eventually allow Auracast in public venues as that becomes more readily available. You can get hands-free phone calls with iPhone, but not with Android. You still have to talk to the phone with Android devices. The Widex Moment app will allow you to change programs, adjust volume with a 3-band equalizer, and uses their AI-supported sound assist that allows you to fine-tune your devices using A/B comparisons in the real world. It also supports finding lost devices via GPS. And if you're an Apple iWatch user, you can control the volume and programs right from your wrist. That's a nice touch. In closing, here's my bottom line. The Widex Allure is the most sophisticated Widex yet, with real meaningful improvements in sound clarity and processing speed. It's also the most polarizing because it launched without several features that many of you and hearing care professionals have come to rely on. If you love natural sound, music fidelity, and fast processing, and your hearing loss is on the more mild to moderate side, you're going to love this device. If you need disposable batteries, have a more severe hearing loss, or require a remote microphone to support your hearing and noise, you might need to look at another alternative. As always, make sure you work with an audiologist who follows best practices, including real ear verifications, to get the best possible outcomes. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps others find trustworthy information about hearing health. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more reviews, hearing tips, and tutorials. You can always click the bell to make sure you're notified on every time we post. And finally, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about the Widex Allure or what other hearing topics you'd like me to cover next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.